All right, Carl, thanks so much. Welcome to the Halftime Report. I'm Scott Wapner, front and center this hour. The tech-led takeoff for stocks. The NASDAQ rallies to another new record high, and the $3 trillion club gets a new member. We'll debate all of it with the Investment Committee. Joining me for the hour right here at Post 9, the Investment Committee, Stephanie Link, Joe Terranova, Carrie Firestone, Rob Sechin. Check the markets. We're green across the board. The NASDAQ is the outperformer today. We will talk about Microsoft hitting $3 trillion. That's a big deal, but so is Stephanie Link's moves yet again, stealing the thunder today like you did on Friday.
Yes.
When you sold out of Meta, you bought more Amazon, and today you have bought even more Amazon.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like
Why are
it.
you loading up on this?
I like it a lot. It's trading at 13 times EBITDA. And historically, it's traded at over 20 times EBITDA. There's three ways to win, as you know. AWS should see a reacceleration from the 12% growth we saw last quarter to something like 15, 16%, maybe even higher in the second half of the year. We'll have to see. Retail margins are on the rise, and I think there's more that they can do, especially as their costs come down. And I think the consumer is on fire. Look at retail sales last week. 9.4% was online. So I think that they're clearly continuing to see momentum. And then, of course, ad revenues. Ad revenues were really weak last year. I think that's going to actually pick up this year, probably for the whole sector. The whole FANG complex, of course, but I think that it's underappreciated at Amazon. And again, the valuation sort of makes sense to me.
Carrie, you own it. Reports next week. Obviously, it was named a top pick into that print by Morgan Stanley today, and people have been getting in line on that one seemingly almost every day. We're reiterating their love for it.
Yeah, I think among the Magnificent Seven, it might be the most attractive one. We own it. We're overweight it. It was a great stock last year, but I think it could be a great stock this year. And the cloud business, we're going to hear about three big companies that own the cloud. Amazon, Microsoft, Google. And I think the numbers are going to be better. They had a tough time last year, and this is an acceleration. We're going to find out whether AI is now producing revenue because of the need for more cloud storage. And the e-commerce numbers are good. They've been cutting costs in certain parts of the company where they think that they were overstaffed and overspending. So the numbers could be better than expected. And as Steph pointed out, it's at the lowest valuation that it's been in decades.
Getting a nice move here, as we discussed. What I really want to know from both Rob and Joe, Rob, I'll start with you first, is why no Amazon for you? You have Alphabet, Microsoft, it's like kind of everything, but why?
Let's talk about that. We owned it for a long time. We thought that they pulled forward an enormity of demand after the COVID pandemic, and so we jettisoned that. They did have a tougher year post that. We decided to place our bets in other areas. We are in all those other spots. I would note that Microsoft and Apple are neutral positions for us. Big being neutral, right? But neutral positions for us. Where we're overweight is in Meta and Google. And the reasons that we're overweight Meta and Google is the refocus on the core business and an acceleration in earnings. And fundamentally, these are the cheapest ways to get your exposure to that. So we're very confident that concentrating our overweight bets there is going to make sense. The other thing that I would say is we talked about lightening up on tech because of positioning sizing coming into the year, Scott. You've asked me a couple times, when is that going to happen? We have a mindset of letting our winners ride right now, but at some point, and you saw it in home builders yesterday, when the stocks break down after a good earnings report, that is when you want to pivot away, and we're not there yet.
Yeah. So, Joe, again, you've loaded back up on mega caps. We mentioned yesterday that Joe T was at a 52-week high yesterday. I presume, given what's happening with the NASDAQ today, it's probably doing that yet again today. But for you as well, no Amazon. I want to know why.
Well, the way that Stephanie described this Amazon company, it sounds like it's fundamentally a really strong company. And if I look at the chart, the momentum looks great. So next Wednesday, we'll be rebalancing the Joe T ETF. We'll see what the rules are applied and see how Amazon looks.
Okay, so I understand that you're obviously limited in what you can say, and maybe we'll read between the lines if we have to. But Steph, do you feel as though it's like Bezos put a royal flush on the table when he left, and it's taken Jack some time to figure out what the next moves are going to be to, in some respects, right-size the company, right? It was fairly bloated, right? Wondering about where cloud growth is going to be relative to the competitors like Azure and Microsoft and some of the other players in that space, too. Has he completed that job, you think, Jassy?
I think he's made huge progress. I think there's more that they can do, though, especially on the cost side of things, and the fulfillment centers and the build-out that they did during COVID. That spend is actually now going to be done. And so that's why you have that operating leverage and that margin expansion on the retail side. They told us in terms of last quarter on cloud, AWS, they signed a whole bunch of new customers in after the quarter closed. So that's why I think you're going to see an acceleration. May not be this quarter coming up, but it's going to happen sometime this year. And it's also just the law of large numbers. They're still growing at enormous levels. And we know that cloud is trillion-dollar total addressable market. So I want to be there. And so, no, I don't think that it's all complete, not with a multiple where it is.
Yeah. Some were wondering, I think, when Bezos left, if that was sort of the moment where, like, the best days were behind it. Because, as I said, he lays a royal flush, he leaves, and then the next few hands that are dealt, Jassie's like, what am I going to do with this? He has a big job to kind of turn the ship around, but it's clear that you think it's in the right direction. There's the stock. It's looks like at the highs of the day here as we find out Stephanie Link has bought more. But the